We have some drawings on the display. I also brought a set of bid drawings that we can review.
Recording in progress.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
The project that went out to bid includes water utilities, so a new water main to serve the JCIDA's airport business park. It's gone through a few iterations with working with Convault and with the IDA. We originally looked at having a complete loop of the park. That was the first iteration, and that was mainly set up so we could serve multiple parcels within the park. We were looking at, there was 4 or 5 potential parcels that could be developed within the park. Then Convault showed interest in the park, and we changed the approach, and we actually were going to serve just the facility at 2 different points and make the connections. That's all they really needed, and they were looking at purchasing the entire property at that time. Since then, we've worked with the town of Hounsfield and IDA on going back to the original plan again. So right now, the plan is to loop the system, which is good for water turnover. It eliminates the dead ends. It's at this point, it's not known, at least I don't know when the building is going to be constructed. So it's good to have that loop for the water turnover. And if something changes, you could go back to the original plan of having multiple parcels within the park, and you would have that water service ready for them. The other thing that is being installed is a force main, and that was mainly focused on serving Convault. So there's a 3-inch force main that is proposed as part of this project that would allow for sewer service to the town's system. I don't have any updates on where the town system stands. John, you may have some timelines on that, but essentially it was going to extend from the proposed building to the new town municipal system along Route 12. So at this time, that's the project that went out to bid. The county has constructed one entrance, the easternmost entrance to the park. They've extended it in far enough to meet the DOT requirements. The western entrance has not been started, and I haven't talked to Jim Lawrence on that schedule yet. But that's, both entrances were approved by the DOT. I think the intent is to, at a minimum, construct those. If the Convault project for some reason doesn't happen, there may be discussions on extending that entire roadway and completing the loop.
Roadway design included in the design plans?
Yes, we've completed the roadway design. It's not included in this bid set, that's just the utilities, but yes.
Was the plan always to have the county build the road?
Yes.
Yeah, it's mainly, I mean, we looked at budgeting for a contractor to do it, but working with the county was a more cost effective. Jim Lawrence is very good at working through projects like this, and it was right up his alley.
But the plan is still to put in the western entrance
Yes,
at this point?
yes. The plan was to get the entrances done because the DOT permit is in their name. The county was going to complete the entrances, and then if Convault constructed what they need to, they could tie in without having to worry about the DOT portion of it.
The location of the force main and the size of the force main, let's assume it went back to 3 or 4 parcels. Is that adequate to handle that?
Yeah, I don't have off the top of my head with it. It was based on the flows of Convault, so my assumption is yes, it could pick up 2 or 3. It would depend on what the businesses are. If they're heavy water users or have more significant waste than Convault, it may require another line.
Do you recall what the projected flow is for Convault?
I think they're around 15 to 20,000 gallons
A day?
daily. And that's off the top of my head.
believe that was max, right?
And it's adequate for sprinkle building too? The pressure?
So the system in the town likely, and I'm not a fire protection engineer, so I'm not going to try to step out on a limb, but I think if they needed significant fire protection for a structure, this town system in general may not be able to provide that alone. They may have to look at some sort of similar to what's out
Behind
in the town of Watertown,
Okay.
having their own system
Storage
of some
system.
sort,
Okay.
whether it's a tank and pumping system. But it's limited. The system is limited by the town system, not by the looped water line.
So what's the pipe material?
HDPE. So I think the town allows HDPE or a class 52 ductile. Given the nature and availability of HDPE, that's what's being proposed.
Can we go back to the Google Earth image? It should be able to just pull it up. They can still see it's there.
So this is being all dedicated at the end of the day to the town. This is being installed
Yes.
and
Correct. Yes. There's full-time inspection. We'll have to sign off on the utilities, buried utilities, upon completion and testing.
Will there be as-built?
And there will be as-built, yes.
Any idea who you're gonna have doing the inspection?
For the DOT, Sam Kennedy is likely going to be out there, and depending on schedule, he may be there for the entire project too.
Okay. What's the expected duration of the project?
It's a relatively small project. I think they are looking, well, our deadline is end of the year. So their schedule right now is showing completion by the end of this year. The biggest hurdle out there is rock. I think everyone knows that. It's unique. Some areas it's deep, and then other areas it's right at the surface. It's a weird formation out there. We had some pictures, almost looks like waves. Because they had that whole site cleared for Convolt's.
We had the same thing over in our corporate park.
Yeah, just odd. It was right at the surface, and then it dropped down deep, and it's a little bit tricky for the contractor to get all the rock removal. But that's probably the longest lead time is getting the rock removed.
Sure.
So, eastern entrance. Is this eastern entrance?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Western entrance?
Yep. So you can see. Yep.
Is this our
You
property?
want me to go up there?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
we go
sure.
down?
So this right here, I believe, so this is where it ends, I think. Yeah, no, that's ours too. That's ours too. But I think that this
Yeah.
is where
So
essentially
it's
it was going.
right in this
Yeah.
general area. So the contractor, when they were working on this was actually an entrance for Convolt to their building.
Michael, can I see that?
Can't remember if the loading docks were on this side. I think the loading docks were proposed on this side and parking was on this side. So they constructed part of their entrance, but in this general area is where the westernmost entrance is going to be.
That's right up tight to the RPZ zone for the runway protection there. That's kind of why that got picked for the spot for that, to utilize the whole property.
The loop. Where's that? We can look at drawings, but
Yeah,
it's-
we might, I don't know if it's easier on the drawings or up there, Rob. So this generally shows this overall, what's best for everyone to be able to see that. Move it midway.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You're fine.
I've seen it.
Yeah, so this section has been constructed. This is the western towards the airport, and nothing's been constructed except for the entrance into the
What the water loop though? Were you talking?
water loop. Is this entire loop. So it's tying on the existing water main. I don't know which is easiest for people to build it.
You're fine, you're fine.
Can you see okay?
Yep, you're
I feel like I'm just talking to myself here with a
You're
picture.
fine.
You're fine.
We're watching, we're tracking.
Okay, I could have Mike hold it up if you want. So the water main is on the opposite side of Route 12.
Uh-huh.
And there's going to be two, we have the DOT's blessing for two crossings. So there'll be water lines crossing, tying onto the existing town line that's on the opposite side of the road. And then the water line will continue around the entire loop.
Gotcha.
So if this project doesn't happen, there are some lots around the outside that could benefit from the water service.
Gregor, how are the bid items structured?
So the bid items are unit prices. So if there's more or less of certain items, they can be adjusted based on actual
I had a
installed.
chance to look at them. What are the bid items?
As far as what,
What are the different bid items?
so there's bid items for the water line, which includes pipe bedding, water line. There's rock removal, restoration, hydrants. Trying to think what else. The crossings are unique. That's a unique item. Then there's the wastewater has its own bid items also for tracking that separate.
It does.
Yes.
Back into the picture.
So you have to bore under the road?
Yeah. So
The
the
highway.
DOT will require us to do a pre-bore survey
Right.
to make sure there's no damage to the highway.
Oh, sure.
So pre-bore, that's Mike comes into play with that one. He does checks all the way across the roadway to make sure, or he checks the elevation pre-construction, and then he checks the elevation of the road post-construction, make sure there's no damage or humping of the highway.
As part of that, it'd probably lay out the water line where it's proposed to be on the inside of the curve too there, just so the contractor has reference. There's not much for reference points out there to put the line in.
Is this in the area where they've made all the modifications to the road for the new bridge going across the Black River, or are we outside of that?
Yeah, it's interesting. The roadway, I don't know if anyone's been out there, the extent of their work ends almost right where the new entrance is.
I have a question
Yeah.
about that too. I thought I like you, I go through there quite often.
Yeah.
They did some digging through here. What was that for? Do you remember that?
They installed a new culvert,
Okay.
so there's a new drainage structure.
Well, that would have been
I
on
think
the
it-
time, but, okay.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Have the DOT permits been issued for the board?
They are, so North Country Contractors, I don't know if everyone's aware of, they were the low bidder.
Right.
Is everyone
Yes.
aware of that?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
actually-
they are putting everything together right now, the bonds for the permit. There's perm 3650. They're putting everything together so they're close. I saw correspondence yesterday. They're close to having everything complete for submission to the DOT.
What's that?
And sometimes that's a timely or
Well,
takes some time,
You
but
think?
we're in good shape with that.
That's, yeah, DOT, that can take.
Has Will been involved in that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's been a process. It didn't happen overnight for the permitting, but
Never does.
no, we're in a good spot now.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
The only thing I would bring up, and that I think it was sort of mentioned, the water line, everything has been specific to Convolt serving that project. So I'll flip to a couple pages. I thought that might be timely and we could discuss it today. So there are two sections that are specific to Convolt. So this connection is specific to Convolt, what they requested for a tie-in point. Similarly, this is specific to Convolt. If there is thoughts of that potentially not occurring, or if the interest is in trying to keep it more generic so it can be built out in the future, those areas may we may want to look at something a little,
Those are unit
Different.
prices though?
those are unit prices.
Okay, that's
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
That's fine, not a problem.
What's the volume capacity of the water system coming in? What would be the flow?
They did a hydrant flow flow test. John, it's
Well, so I
700
guess
to
just to answer
800.
the question generically, our folks, since our folks are working with the town of Hounsfield, have done all the engineering calculations for that site, for what's being installed, et cetera. Don't know the exact numbers, but it's very adequate.
Okay.
What's the main line? What size?
I think those are all 8.
8-inch.
So ours is all 8. I think there's a section on this side that may be 10
Yep.
on the existing. Were you asking about the new or the
Existing.
existing? I think this side over here may be 10-inch, the
Could be. Yeah, I can't remember.
existing line.
I think it is, yeah.
That's a big one. Yeah.
The park is proposed for 8-inch.
8-inch, right? More than adequate. More
So
than
that force main, is that to serve the airport at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, that.
The town municipal system.
The town
is.
municipal
Yeah.
system sewer system is being installed specifically at this point to serve the airport.
But it benefits
in the
us.
terminal. It happens to benefit
Yes.
our parcels.
Goes by the front door.
Right in the front door. So it really serves two purposes, if not more.
So where's the force main and lift station going to be?
Just flip back here.
Is that a generic location that'll work regardless?
Yeah,
of
so
how-
we've worked
it is.
with
It is.
the engineers for the town, with John's group. We actually show where the proposed location of the pump station is, and
So that's in the Hounsfield project.
Okay.
For sewer, and that's being installed in such a fashion. Actually, it's rather unique because there are actually two parallel force mains that are going in for that system, a smaller one and a larger one, which will allow for future growth, current flow and future growth.
And where's that going to Dexter or?
No, that's actually going down to Brownville.
Mhm.
It's going across what will be the new pipe bridge. Currently the old bridge that nobody can use anymore.
the one that's shut down. Yeah.
It's being redone by DOT as a pipe bridge for both water, sewer, and gas.
Projects over there right now.
What's that?
A lot of projects.
There are lots going on over there, which is great. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, big time.
Great timing for the airport too.
It is. Yeah, that was critical when they received that grant to do the
Terminal building.
terminal building. That was huge. That was huge. Helped us along and helped this site along immensely. So yeah, but anybody else got any other questions? Appreciate you guys coming in.
Can I get your name for the minutes?
Mike Mitchell.
Mitchell? Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for having us.
Thanks for taking the time to come over.
Clarifying things.
We're kind of reviving the function of the Buildings and Grounds Committee and hope to be meeting on a regular basis as we move forward. So
Sounds good. If anything comes up, just
as we move through this project, we'll probably have more interaction.
Great.
With any potential changes that might come one way or the other.
sounds good. Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Mike. I'll
Yep.
try to make it tonight.
All right.
Thanks, Jug.
Let me know, yeah.
Okay.
Mike?
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Take care.
Thank you, thank you.
We're still rolling, just so.
Okay. I think that was pretty much covers the items on the agenda. Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up, any other business?
Electrical infrastructure coming into this. What do we have or don't have?
We're working with National Grid on that piece as well.
That'd be helpful sometime.
Yeah.
Get an update on that. Yep. All right, but I guess hearing nothing further, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Justin, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
So that's an 8-inch lateral. That's pretty big.
What's that?
8-inch lateral.